I joined PG Rank 10 relative new YouTubers to be frank and completely new YouTuber and SES. No actions like short but frame amateur essays and potential critiques of games in the future. Love games and I'm just games, stick around maybe I'll some stuff right down the line of what I do here. No carrying on. That's a dance roll the intro opening sequence as he finds I like to call it. Okay, judging from the title of this video and what you expect out of that, it's pretty clear what this video is about. It knows for this entire game, hasn't been West that being. So with that said and done, to get on to it. How the story of hasn't been West have ended. So the comic script of sorts, but anyway, you get the point anyway. We get on to it. The other protagonist tries to save the world as usual, and this time she's from infections and play like the figure of the vegetation and wildlife. There's just the only way can stop it, yada yada. Get the drill by this point. You didn't be here, we didn't, right? Anyway, yeah, she's trying to save the world as usual, and of course she has a plan for it. This is a learn post intro that she must find a back of guy looking at the the Protestan's launch site. Something you're quite familiar with, takes of a lore man like me, I suppose. And that's besides the point anyway. She's searching for a back of guy, something she also restore the focus of bad which open conditions. So you get a very key important story moment. Conversation between Alien and Elizabeth, in her mind of course. Here she talks with Varl, and afterwards you can see that something's quite different with Aloy. Seems to be more what's the word? Decisive or allies that is. Varl in question in this scene. Permission given earlier to her and Elizabeth? Well, let's see. No spoilers from here on out, but I suppose everyone noticed already this I'll be covering this entire narrative. Well, not covering the entire story, but with offering a key insight into important events that take place in the story. Starting with this one. Now it's back to spoilers. Also, if you haven't experienced this game in some way, shape, or form, I recommend you do so. This is an analysis when we watch things the other way around. Anyway, spoilers. With all that said and done, Air action exploration has been well, seeing visually as so back that is. Just dreams of her, I suppose. The end of the another sequence revealed to us that Aelor is to be more like her. I should believe that she must literally be coming out to save the world. I'll play the clip here.
And when I arrive at the center, I see you, Elizabeth. Waiting for me. Even though you've been dead for 1,000 years. You're the closest person I've ever had to a mother. And for a moment, I feel whole. But it never lasts. I'm always left alone.
You clearly see that Aelor is trying to listen to Elizabeth's companionship, so much so that she clearly sees herself in her, and immediately and completely and ultimately denies the company of her former customary companions. She was active that she believes on she and Sheila will save the world at this point. But that's the point anyway. But back to the analysis, at least more of it anyway. It then moves into Meridian, after feeling secure back of Gaia that is, and Fortine's ruin that is. She then discovers a bit later in the session that Silence is exactly what she needs. And that exactly, a copy of Gaia that is. The research for presuming to have been West obtain it. So far so good. The story reads like a magical fairy tale or something like that, but soon enough a breakdown of the story eventually falls and crashes. Well up to the very end. Also given that the story's user reception is possibly very low. So in the end the story defaults to some areas that are addressed in this essay. So now let's continue. The intro used for this video is intro, that plays, and yeah, it gives me goosebumps each time, and the music and atmosphere will tell you in here quite well. But anyways, that said and done, after this intro makes it to Forbidden West, and somewhere, or at least someone near around it. So you also discover the looks of this game. The visuals are just looking like a blanket and hug you so tightly that you start to make comments like this, I suppose. But let's move on now, shall we? Yeah, essentially the side of the visuals are crisp and smooth and good though. Like I'm not gonna start with the commentary again, but anyways, keep on, shall we? Since everything is great here. The side quest especially gives us some good stuff to do here. This just side quest I was looking at, but we'll cover this later on the video. Perhaps in the side quest in the main story comparison section of the video that is. Open the video's timestamps below, you're welcome. Anyway, the story gets off an attack on an embassy, Alice may take part in and we stop it. Thankfully, however, to sell into it in the position where he's to it appears. Wants to make it to the last known location, that is. We follow trailers from an old world ruin, the top list that is, which if you're a fan of online CRPGs, most of recall, right? Yes, I just made a reference to something, but that doesn't matter anyways. Comment down below if you if you know what it is and you get a free cookie or something like that. be another old internet joke, but anyway, it doesn't matter anyway. Anyway, yeah. We get to make it to the top of this, we find the Hades proving that the guy is being held, or at least a backup that is. And it's here we eventually come to meet the game's central antagonist, Space Invaders, that is. Yes, Space Invaders, or at least the Zenith, that is. The invaders from space, yeah, that I get the point. Then she was able to attack us for a story going forward, and they also really find a nickname, I suppose. We find one of them, a Bruno as Eric, but essentially get pummeled and lose and barely make another soul here. To this point to where the story makes its first turn to the darkness. We meet Ross. Yeah, it's a bit too dark, but anyways. We meet him before he disappears and meet Varl again. But I digress. We meet Varl and takes the to a nearby village to recuperate. Let's really break down this section of the story. Meeting Giants is powerful and successful as it needs to be. There's one thing off about it. Not the clone, though, we'll get to it later. Here's the Protagonist's first real transformation. She has struggled to deal with before her obsession with Sobek, but from all of a sudden she's healed. We're literally seeing Ross remind her of who she needs to be. Like what needs for the story fanatics out there, but essentially, yeah. She sees Ross and now she, from now henceforth, is now more accepting of her allies. This moments prior, she directed Aaron's over to help her back in the open section of the Forbidden West. So that's the issue here. Also, gets in a reasonable manner. Ilo ran research the direction of her arc in this moments of seeing an old friend and ally, and what seems to a dream hallucination. From going forward, she has more accepting. She starts accepting people. We've gone into her base, and for me personally, from the old and then they're crashing. Let's attack this, shall we? She'll the beginning in a state of rejection. Unless she's a rejecter or something, I don't know. She wasn't rejecting everyone around who could possibly help. Let's go into hallucination. She earlier on decided I'll trust my friends anyway, I guess. I should just trust them because regardless of the fact that she's been rejecting all before. The true insecurity is all deep within her center on their mother figure. Anyways, I just expected to believe that she all of a sudden has no problem with working with her friends due to this one event. We'll see how the rest of the stuff with the rest of us going forward, but for now it's acknowledge immediate effects. She may take a stranger she just met and consider their friend and even voice it to her base. Cover is crucial to the story, but for now, yeah. It leaves a strange gap, I suppose. After all, this is a setup guy, but realizes she's making some of subordinate functions. That's suddenly either in the meter and the attractive words in the story. She still has to track and capture some functions versus portion of the game, that is. Then she afterwards uses them to capture faster than a long portion of the game, that is. Before we get to all that, I'll cover some key events to take us considering all of this. We use a clone, that is. She's called Beta and before the most relatable character in the game, like being rude and dorky like me, that is. Anyway, she's quite relatable and also plays a good mirror for protagonist Aloy. Looking always a hero threat back at her. He's a more fragile version of a hero, one like Aloy grew up in one's security for the most part anyways, grew up in the core and resentment of her creators. And the result of this is completely shut off from everybody else, including the world as a result of this. Skills the expectation when it comes to relaying information about the Zenith, the plans, the motivations, and goals. Let's give you this information so that it will go anywhere. Also, we've seen new faces and making media companions in this segment, but that's all for now anyways. But if you talk about the points I made about Beta and the Zenith here, because in my eyes they're very important. First of all, the Zenith. This part is short, it's useless, and they told you this even matters. The full talk on the same all the points you made before, it just repeats and going here from there. The point is this, and the motivation of the antagonist, of course. That being the fact that they ran off from the home planet because they got destroyed by a natural disaster or something like that, I guess. It's completely up in the air. It's all completely up in the air here. It's when they cycle over and they cycle until it loses all its significance. It's in the true origin story. It's when you have access to that sort of red hearing, that is. When unfortunately has no appeal. Like, there's none. Literally none. Doesn't add much compelling information, doesn't move the story in any way. Back to your point in beta, she has her insecurities which are literally her trauma, the bad anxiety, and most importantly, over fear of trusting others. Actually, in this case, her dad trusts others anyway. That's from my understanding anyway. Culmination of Alien Beta's bonding, we get this scene. She has a sense of problem. Why is this scene truly necessary? It's important for Beta, but I want to see if it's much more important to her protagonist Aloy. It literally spells out let go and trust people. Which teaches Beta the confirmation of our change and also science clearly. Clearly, what Aloy realizes important key information for herself. But back to the point, the story loses all direction essentially. You'll get to a combination of all this essentially, but then discussion. But for now, let's get a break and talk about some lore. This one is short. Trust me. Okay, and we're back with some side notes. So let's here to talk about. So let's get my insights on how they handle lore and world building from a data collection point of view. Instead of sense, the literal data points find the world. In other words, the journal entries of the lore dump set being. Okay, first things first. The lore of this world is solely handled from random pieces of data information you find on the random parts of the world about those places. Information on the main antagonists, specifically who they were, what they did before they became weird in space at being. Essentially. Now to talk about the various things they did either from a main quest point perspective or just found in random press in the open world or something. But anyway, back to the main point here. The point of criticism I can make towards this game's world building is that there isn't much of it. It's still compared to the previous game, that is. It set up its own world to a point to set up a sequel within the same game for players to find and theorize about it. If you know, you know. Essentially, the game set up its world so much to a point even set up the world of a sequel. That being, all that's there to mind for if you know exactly where to look for it. That is essentially. Anyway, again, if you know, you know. I mean that a lot of it. That being, from the Xenos, the literal title of the game Forbidden West, and data points for the comb for. Really, that's the point anyway. The second was named Acquired Taste, which sees you interacting with an example Baruch Shaman or what have you. A lot of these games are not that much anyways. It's back to the point. He drinks a lot of machines or something like that, I guess. The oil that is, I suppose. And sees the future with them, including the events of it they're done and those preceding it or leading to it. Even including the events of the game itself. And even including the events of the Forbidden West itself, that being. At least some botched version of the story that didn't make the final cut or something. So at least in what we got. If you're curious, you can check out the full footage of this on YouTube, that being. Not the botched version of the story, but the side quest, that being. That's the point. That's the point anyway. There's a heck of a lot going on with this title, even for its announcement. Jeez. But anyway, back to analysis. Or at least more of it. Yeah, more of it. Yeah. Yeah, that's the world building of it. Actually, just a bit of it, in my opinion, if you will. It's well done, but just not as heavy as the previous game's world building, that is. This is what kind of world building similar to the first games we got. Here's a small transition to plot of the third game instead of third game in the form of a cliffhanger at the end, I suppose. But I digress. That's one because it's not important, and two because it gets added in the ending section of the video. Or just because I might have done the ending, I suppose. Because only conclude the video, that is. Section 4, side quest and main quest dynamics. That section is set in, the setting section implies I'll give another brief thought on my views towards the side quest management in this game. Translate is stellar. I mean, really, really good. One of the side quests really basically improve the main story if you choose to play them intertwining with each other. Basically, it's really well handled in that regard, which then makes it ask two questions. Well, side quests offer more depth of the main story, where the main story lacks, and two, why can the main story just offer the same amount of depth on its own, like the first game? But there's a short answer. Then to make a role playing game, at least that's what I'm assuming anyway. They're trying to make a role playing adventure, and that's the way the side quests feel well good, I guess. That man, it's a long one, but anyway. Thus, yeah, it's unfortunate all I have to offer in terms of insights is goes into that. It's time to make a role playing game, I guess, like Fallout or something. I don't know. I have no clue, man. But anyway, that's all I got for now, anyways. Back to analysis, that being. Now, there is a Galactus that actually offer more depth in the side quest stories. Motivations are made clear, goals are more fleshed out, and overall, every last character in the story, including even characters like Talo or even Alva, which have their own side quests that flesh them out even more. But that's actually more sense now that I think of it. Long and short, they do a Gala justice, and more importantly, every lesser remaining character in the story. Now, as over, I might as well say that the facial and overall animation quality I've seen often considered dawn, even especially in the side quests. That's all I got. Moving on to the next tangent, or analysis, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, analysis, that is. Yeah. Anyway, section 5 is the music. This part short as I move on to the final section of the video. Which is, of course, in the outro, but anyway. Yeah, it's the music of the West. That's not all like what I just said, but anyway. This is great. Most people really like the track Shelter from the Storm, which is usually the track that plays as you explore the base. But I highly recommend you try some more tracks of the game. It's got a good feel for it to emotionally send you. Some between the world on the shoulders and in the flood, the Leviticus version. Also for this section, also the music is really nice for some reason. Like all the tracks rarely ever play. There's such a huge abundance of them. And it doesn't really matter, I suppose, but it's well to criticize. Anyway, back to the last piece of this essay. According to Joel to my analysis. Time to there now, shall we? And yeah, see you there, guys, yeah? Yeah. Revolution West is as I described before, a good game with good side quests and a good opening. Opening hours that being. That's all the previous game did and better in terms of gameplay, that is. But more despite all of that, so much less than its predecessors, as they're done that being. Well, said and done, let's jump right into the ending, shall we? Let's go send you the context of the events leading up to it. Let's that, shall we? After playing secure the facets of losing file in the process, they seem to direct exactly the last possible minute. This is another seen it. This one's a good one, I guess. I don't know. The question is built Tilda Vandermeer. Does it like all the others, but this one's a good one. This one's a good one, I suppose. The side relations are so big, so yeah, she's that old. Those relations are so far too far deep for me to even fathom. Those means essentially, and that may be something for plans going forward as well. And try to let a little bit until they were partners, I guess. And seeing her again seemingly in the flesh is what inspired the rescue to begin with. We'd ask her a few questions and go over to defeat Regala's army. Regala herself in the mix. This is to show that Toxic Warders and interfere with their plans or something like that, I don't know. Anyway, Illa defeats Regala, and depending on your choices, she's either dead from this point going forward or she's an ally. Regala, if you choose to spare, as her character fleshed out a bit more before the end of the game, seemingly as a redemption. So it's all that together and they get to a pterodactyl. Anyway, now begins the ending. Basil, the guy back up, been overtaken by Athena's from so unfortunately, I wasn't actually able to. This is the final battle before the ending. Which is really encouraged my first playthrough of this game. That is, the match will end quite abruptly. That's the point anyway. The sequence of battles are fought with now the fastest on our side. Machines against specters. We fight. Regala dies, but he gets redemption in the end. By the book from the end of the storyboard, continues to introduce. We finally climb the launch to rescue Beta and rescue Gaia. Simple enough, eh? Quest until they discover the little track is actually another entire entity roaming the cosmos. Looking for the Xenos, that is. Or Tilda tells you about it, that is. And now we must fight Tilda because this part is short but kinda silly. She's in love with Ayla because she resembles Elizabeth in various ways, both inside and outside. She demands that Ayla goes with her to another planet somewhere else in the cosmos to escape the Nemesis threat. It's called that, by the way. Also, because she wants to make up for her life sentence to Elizabeth, since they were lovers, I suppose. It's sounding weird to you because is this sounding weird to you? Good, because it sounds kind of weird to me as well. If it isn't and doesn't, well, that's good as well, I suppose. It's just the part that ending blew me off a touch. The main villain is essentially less of a new cloned version of from a lover, then came to Earth to find another clone of the same person, demanded they be got together for thousands of years on another planet. Sure, I can see how I see how that sort of adds up, but it's not my fancy anyway. A cup of tea that being. I want to put it that I would don't put that. This seems awfully strange, somewhat unbelievable to an extent. But some of you watching this might actually know better than me, I suppose. I ain't making any assumptions things I don't quite understand here anyway. But anyway, to the losers and we kill her, and now this is a matter of nemesis to deal with. Which we won't deal with yet because this is my second game, I suppose, so we can pick up with it. We also have a few more years, eh? There's a cliffhangers, and this one's awfully egregious. The plot lines are resolved, and the story ends on a painfully open note. But that's not all. They didn't even mention the fact that they didn't mention that antagonists aren't even fleshed. They didn't mention that antagonists aren't even fleshed out so much to the point that they're portrayed as the final count of a bunch of ceremony cartoon villains supposed to have promised at the beginning of the story. Dark ministers spoke came from seemingly nowhere. Explainable things they somehow acquired. The clone that being. And now that it's paid off in any significant way, it's come off as lazy or inspired, which isn't at all the case here. They're generally interesting, just not so fleshed out as much. And even the final fight was quite the bummer. Essentially, they're fighting someone in a mech suit, which we gamers now find them very what's the word overused, cliche, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, back to the ending, I suppose. Actually, I suppose. Well, about the ending, let's talk about how you can be fixed. And mine can't be fixed. Let's start off with a little bit of a story. From the first few critiques that can be made on some major plot points. Because they'll factor in the story in the end. But for now, let's focus on those key points. That is, first the intro, Elizabeth's dream. This signifies that Aloy, for the most impressive story, will do something like imposter syndrome. This will be our first change to the story, or fix to it. That is, she also rejects the help of others because she believes that she alone can save the world, and all that is a mere distractions. Well and good so far. Let's continue, shall we? Some of them made the first real change. Aloy has dreams currently through the whole story. Every now and then she'll have a dream to her subject and eventually end up becoming more and more obsessed with thought over her. In this case, being her, I suppose. Like, jump into the middle of the story, that is. Where she's Rosta and Farl. Like, what if she didn't? Like I said, Farl helping her, then afterwards continue to reject his aid, that being. Then do this to everyone else concurrently, throughout the story, that being. Not only will character be more in line how she acts and talks and extent, which has been a point of criticism for many of this game, also make her character more rounded, also give him a clear act throughout the whole story. Also, character arc that being through all through the story that being. But which points anyway. Also, what if Nemesis just introduced the beginning of the story that being as part of the antagonist's motivations really early on? Like say when they start talking to Beta, that is. That will come out more satisfying, knowing their intentions and reasons for their actions. It won't just seem like bad guys doing what bad guys do, I suppose. There's the fact that they're people making millions at the beginning, then maybe and just maybe and perhaps they come also have a bit more depth. More of it, I suppose, that being. Yeah, they got the point by now, anyways. The fact that people has been there from the beginning, like making faster so doing pleasure and leisure demands that being, that would sound ideal. Maybe in the backstory can tell why they do what they do. Whether it's so evil, maybe it's all clones or something. But anyway, something went wrong in the process. I don't know. You get the point anyway. something I had done. I eventually actually post the comment down below and I'll read it and give it a read, But that's the point anyway. After all this, I'd say that Alien has relative obsessions and act like this whole game. Traditional friends are, of course, living some kind of imposter syndrome, which is yourself as Elizabeth Sobek, who can only save the world, something along those lines. Or only able to save the world or something along those lines, I suppose. To recap, Elliot pretends to be obsessed with the notion that she only can save the world, which will lead her spiraling downwards until she eventually does something she will inevitably regret. Nevertheless, by this point, we will have clearly learn motivations. So learning if a clearly defined threat that is. Nemesis that being. Then everything will go down for Alo like a catastrophic event would happen. And a catastrophic event would happen, that is. As for Gal, just introduced the character version to the screen, that is, like in the Daunt or something. The Daunt has already said the game was within the Forbidden West, they've been aware of that, but anyway, When she showed up, everything just clicked into place essentially. But anyway, back to the main points anyway. Anyway, after the ending part, Daily Best when the time was completely rejected LOI is going to be the Xenos. So let's say it's the weather for now anyways, we can click faction like nice into fight because well yeah. More to do in the story and yeah, after God and Chief Akad and the Snack could even team up I suppose. Then the God could have a part of redemption in the end. Then eventually, yeah. Finally Alo face up with Tilda. At this point of time still could be in the gay stuff I suppose. The guess of I suppose trying to see if it's Beta and Gaia that is. But maybe at this point in time, till either face posterior Aloy, it sees worse than someone else how it sets back to a whole version of herself at this point anyway. Because she's all obsessed that is. And the other myself up till like further on Maxit that is. Then see both Beta and Gaia. Managed to beat the Xenos and the army respected, but in the end they still have one thing to contend with. Nemesis that being. Here I say that Nemesis will be no longer a threat because of the fact that the Xenos are dead I suppose. Simple, right? Let's say something like no. Let's say something like let's say someone like Senator or whoever that could cash into something like cash into something on a console. Something like that says Nemesis and Bound Planet or something would be essential guy or something like that. Sort of these games they know exactly what I'm talking about. The Nemesis randomly appears to shock the whole world. That is, Ilo included. Like Chinook a bit, Ilo and go after hunt for the guy the guy completely ignored the thing threat and eventually in process of making guys stronger. That is. That was making signals with Nemesis stronger than that being. Like I said, nobody's aware of this, including the Xenots. But would have thought that Nemesis was tracking them, was only merely tracking them solely to that being. And in a circle said that Ayla literally dies, I suppose. I mean, she literally dies in the sense that Nemesis would come and would spread for all this, since her team. Nemesis literally leaves the base, that is. Sense of wrestler been gone by this point, but then that's the point. That's the point anyway. The last moment, the surprise was third ahead. Elijah makes a drastic move by trying to push Nemesis' Gaia, also with solidifying arc and eventually make her lose self completely. Wasn't really an outward that being. Just moments of her death that being. Their body will be seen lying down and she's the last few moments to watch the world that she works out to protect becomes shattered. But that she will literally focus on the backstory problem. That's the ending of it, that's the ending of it, I suppose. That was sounding good? Well, good. That's because that's what I wanted it to sound like. It's not perfect in the doubt that that's done it this way, but essentially, yeah. That's about it. The first section is over the narrative, and the end even put a good and wholesome ending, I suppose. Then yeah, got a name for the character and perhaps even in this case the entire franchise. That's what they're choosing to end it. That's all I have for now, but anyway, that's it and done. That's I believe that's for the introduction and she concluded. Or in this case I suppose that being. Thanks for watching everyone. Get out of the way, so I'm doing my Patreon, then I can become an event with the name up here that is. When you for that matter that being. And that's about it. Thank you for enjoying the video. Have a good day or something, and welcome out. See you. Have a good one.